The 1980s were a weird time for muscle cars. The golden era of the 60s and early 70s was long gone. Emissions rules, rising gas prices, and insurance costs nearly killed off performance cars. But GM didn't give up entirely. In fact, while everyone remembers the IROC Z Camaro or the Buick Grand National, there were some GM-built machines in the 80s that flew completely under the radar. Today, we're diving deep into the 6 most unknown GM muscle cars of the 1980s. Cars that had attitude, performance, and history, but never got the love they deserved. So buckle up, because some of these might just blow your mind. 1. 1986 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aerocoupe. Let's start with something that looks familiar, but has a hidden twist. The Monte Carlo SS Aerocoupe wasn't just a Monte with a spoiler. This thing was built for one reason: NASCAR. Seriously. In 1986, GM wanted to dominate the track, so they built just over 200 of these special Monte Carlos with a unique sloped rear window and a redesigned trunk for better aerodynamics. That fastback style glass? It wasn't for style. It was for slicing through air at 200 miles per hour. Only a few hundred were made in 86 and a bit more in 87. Most people today walk right by them at car shows, not realizing they're staring at a low-production NASCAR homologation car. It had a 5.0-liter HOV8 under the hood, 180 horsepower. Not crazy by today's standards, but remember, this was during the horsepower drought. What made it special wasn't just speed, it was purpose. 2. 1982 Pontiac Grand Prix LJ 4.3 V6HO. When people think Pontiac muscle, they think GTOs, Firebirds, maybe even the later Trans Ams. But in 1982, Pontiac tried something weird with the Grand Prix. They dropped in a 4.3-liter HO56, a high-output version of Chevy's 262 V6, into the sleek and luxury-oriented Grand Prix LJ. It was trying to be both refined and quick, which, let's be real, wasn't easy in the early 80s. But this was one of the first signs GM was waking up from the performance coma. The HO-V6 was surprisingly responsive, paired with a stiffer suspension and upgraded interior. It wasn't meant to be a drag strip beast. It was trying to be a refined V6-powered muscle coupe, and while it didn't blow anyone's socks off, it showed that Pontiac was still experimenting with performance, just not in ways people expected. Most people have no idea this car ever existed. Even fewer know how rare it is today. 3. 1984 Oldsmobile Hearst, or Olds 15th Anniversary Edition. Now this next one, oh man, it's got 80s muscle DNA written all over it, but still nobody talks about it. In 1984, Oldsmobile teamed up with Hearst again to celebrate 15 years of the Hearst or Olds partnership. The result? A 442-style G-body coupe with a 307 cubic inch V8, factory dual exhaust, and, get this, a lightning rod shifter setup. Yes, 3 shifter rods, one for each forward gear. It looked wild and was surprisingly functional on the strip. You could manually slam through each gear without worrying about missing a shift. It had two-tone silver and black paint, bold graphics, and only about 3,500 were made. It's one of those cars that muscle car guys respect, but casual fans have never even heard of. If you ever see one in the wild, especially with the lightning rods intact, you're looking at something truly special from GM's underground 80s muscle era. 4. 1981 Chevrolet Malibu M80. Ever heard of the M80? No, not the firecracker, the car. In 1981, Chevy made a super limited run of Malibu M80s, and they were sold only in North and South Carolina. Why? NASCAR again. Chevy wanted to celebrate its performance roots in stock car racing, so they built around 1,901 units of this special edition Malibu. It came in white with blue stripes, a front air dam, rally wheels, and, most importantly, a 5.0-liter V8 under the hood. But here's the thing. There was no real VIN code or badging to make it official, so unless you know what you're looking at, the M80 just looks like an average early 80s Malibu with some tape stripes. But it was a secret muscle car, quiet, subtle, but built for fans who knew where to look. These are insanely rare now. Some collectors still argue whether they count as a muscle car. But here's the truth. It was a factory V8-powered tribute to performance heritage. That's muscle to us. 5. 1985 Chevrolet Impala SS. This one's practically a myth in the US because it was never sold here. In 1985, GM sold a special Chevrolet Impala SS only in Canada. It wasn't a crazy high horsepower beast, but it had some legit attitude. This Impala came with a police package style suspension, a 305 V8, blackout trim, and no chrome, giving it a stealthy, aggressive look way before Murdered Out was cool. Think of it like a sleeper Caprice that could blend in, but had just enough bite to matter. Only a few thousand were made. Most were used up and scrapped over the years, making survivors extremely rare. For die-hard Chevy fans, this is one of those you either know or you don't cars. It's the kind of thing that makes car meets fun, when someone rolls up in a muscle car you've never seen before. 6. 1983 Pontiac Firebird SE 5.0 HO 5-speed. Before the Trans Am stole all the spotlight, Pontiac quietly slipped something spicy into the lineup in 1983, a Firebird SE with the 5.0-liter high-output engine and a rare 5-speed manual. Most people associate the early 80s Firebirds with automatic transmissions, smog-era performance, and Knight Rider vibes. But this version was different. It had the same 190 horsepower V8 from the Trans Am, but in a more subdued SE package, with less weight and less flash. That made it a true sleeper. And the 5-speed? That was rare. Even Trans Ams were mostly autos at the time. The manual gave it real driver engagement, and with its tight suspension and improved handling, it was more balanced than people give it credit for. There you have it. 6 unknown GM muscle cars from the 1980s that most people never even knew existed. They weren't all loud, they weren't all fast, but they each carried the spirit of muscle, performance, attitude, and that never quit mindset, even when the muscle car era was supposed to be over. If you enjoyed this dive into forgotten history, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more underrated car stories, and let me know in the comments. Which one of these would you drive today? Or did I miss a rare gem you think deserves a spot? Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the best muscle cars aren't the ones everyone knows. They're the ones only real car people talk about.